The topic that I'm going to work with you today is about solving rational equations. And these are equations that can be reducible to linear equations. First thing first is to determine the least common multiple or the least common denominator of 3x, 2x, and 3. The least common denominator or multiple is 6x. Okay. So take note that 6x can be divided to all of these terms, giving us a whole number quotient. Next step is to multiply that LCD or LCM to all the terms in the given equation. As it is shown that the LCD is multiplied to each of the term of the equations, that is to eliminate the fraction. Okay, what shall we do after this is to simplify, or as other would say, is to do the math. As what I shall use in simplifying this is the canceling method. We know that there are 3x's that goes to 6x and only one goes to itself. That is giving us 2 times 2 equal to 4. Here there are 3 2's goes to 6 and only one goes to itself, keeping the x. We have 1 times 3x or 3x. There is 1x goes to itself, keeping 6. 4 times 6. So there are 2 3's that goes to 6 and only one goes to itself, giving us 4 times 2x, which is positive 8x. So when I say transpose is we need to put 4 to the right side of the equation and 8x to the left side of the equation, which will be. So what happened when we transpose numbers to the other side of the equation? Notice that we have positive here. After we put that on the right side, it will become negative. Just like with positive 8x here, when we transpose it to the other side, it will become negative 8x. Next thing is again to do the math. So remember, in adding integers or signed numbers, different sign, subtract, copy the sign of the number that has a bigger absolute value. So in this case, we have negative 5x equal to 20 from 24 minus 4. We need to divide both by negative 5. Makes negative 5 equal to 1. What is left on this side, x, and the right side would be negative 4. Therefore, the solution set is negative 4. We go back to the condition, x shouldn't be equal to 0. Therefore, we have a solution. And now let's have example number 2. The condition is not given. So that is the first step, to determine the value or values of x that will make the equation no solution or undefined. So we will equate our denominator to 0, and remember, transposing, that will switch the sign of the number. So therefore, in this equation 1, so x shouldn't be equal to 1. So after that, we will determine the LCM or the LCD, and we're lucky enough because we have the same denominator, so that is the LCD of this equation. So third step is to multiply the LCM or the LCD, which is equal to x minus 1, to all the terms in the equation. As you can see here, what do we do next is to simplify. X minus 1 goes to x minus 1 by itself once, giving us only 3x. So notice that we are multiplying a number to a quantity, So we make sure that we do the multiplication over subtraction 2x minus 2. And for the right side, same thing. X minus 1 goes to itself once. What is left here is the 3. As we can see, there's a constant on the left side of the equation, so we need to transpose that. At the same time, we can also combine terms simultaneously. So 3x, that will give us 5x, which is equal to 3. Then transposing 2, we have plus 2. And as we continue, divide each time of the equation by 5. And that gives us just 1x, or x equal to 1. Here's the catch. If we go back to the condition, it says that x shouldn't be equal to 1. What we got here is equal to 1. It says that this equation has no solution. Now we're down to the third and last example. We need to know what's the value, or what are the values of x that will make this equation undefined or no solution. To determine values of x's, we need to equate each denominator to 0 and solve for x. So we'll do the math here. So we get negative x here for x, that will make this equal to 0. There are other denominators here, and we may find another value of x that will make these equal to 0. So again, we'll just do the math here. And let's see if we could find another value of x. Okay, it's still the same. So take note, 0 divided by any number is not undefined. It is 0. Alrighty, this will make 0, 0, and 0. Now here's the catch. Now take note that there's another value of x that will make any of these equal to 0. And that is when x equal to 0. Substitute this with zeros, then it will give us a 0. We have two values of x's that shouldn't be. After we determine the x values of which this equation becomes undefined or no solutions, then we need to find the LCM. Take note that I use the distributive property over addition to determine the factors of these expressions. To get the least common multiple of all of these, that the common is x plus 6. And for 3, 2, and x, the least common denominator is 6x. The simplest way to get 6x is to multiply all of these quantities. Okay, so we multiply the LCM to each of the fractions in the equation. Notice that instead of the original one, I use these factors for here. That it's easy to do the cancellation part. We cancel the whole quantity. There are 2 3's that goes to 6, and there's just 1 to itself. 1 times 2x. So we have 2x. There are 3 2's in 6, and there's 1 in itself, minus 1 times 3x. Cancel now x and also the whole quantity, x plus 6. 1 times 6, so we have 6. Combine like terms, so we have negative x is equal to 6. Divide this by negative 1 to get the value of x we have is negative 6. Now, look at our condition. X shouldn't be equal to negative 6 and 0. So since x is negative 6, so therefore this equation has no solution.